this is Julissa. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much to everybody who's listening right now in the podcast. It is Thursday, October 30th, 2025. I wanted to come here and share this breaking news right now. It's breaking news, and the reason that I'm going to share this is because I normally, in the morning, I do watch the morning news, and the show where Gayle King is every morning, that's the one that I normally will watch. And today they did something interesting that I wasn't sure like how to take it, but there's breaking news regarding her right now, and this is about everything that's happening in this big news company, which is very surprising because you will see to see an institution so big that has been going on for so many years, like CBS, right? For them to be going through something like this, and they just announced they laid off 1,000 employees. That to me is just very shocking, right? Because one thing in industries can collapse and this and the other, but news, they're always going to be news, right? So it's very surprising. Before I continue and share to you guys what the breaking news is regarding Gayle King and the company that she works for, I want to say thank you so much to everybody who's watching the video right now using YouTube. Thank you so much for sharing and subscribing in the channel. It really helps me as a creator. I'm having difficulty with the lighting here, but excuse me. And also everybody who's listening using Spotify, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to follow Julissadesigns podcast on Spotify. It helps me as a creator. And of course, everybody who also listens to my podcast using Apple Podcasts, thank you guys so much for being here listening. And also, you can follow the podcast using Apple Podcasts. Also helps me as a creator. So here's the news, you guys, because I'm reading this article. I read it briefly before I came here to share this, and I was like, those are like my favorite people to watch, right? They give a whole list of people who work for these big news companies, right? I don't know how much I can say the name of it, but if you know Gayle King, you know what TV show she works on every morning, you know what company I'm referring to. But in those 1,000 employees, right, they lay off so many reporters that we watch story after story. We see them sharing the news. I'm gonna tell you their names, right? And when I'm like, who is that? That name sounds so familiar. As I'm reading the article, I searched the name, and I'm like, they lay her off. They lay off Lisa Ling. They lay off so many of them that you're like, oh my goodness. Sometimes when there is a situation going on in a country, right, we always assume like, people hear you speaking about the SNAP benefits, let's just say, and they, for some reason, people forget that SNAP benefits were created for people in need. And when you are kind of like talking about like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to the people that in 2 days are going to lose their food benefits, and you kind of pray for them, things like that, people think that you are supporting the people that are taking advantage of that system. Obviously, there's always going to be people who take advantage of the system, but that SNAP benefits was created to help people in need, and there's so many people that that eat because of SNAP benefits. So that's why it's like when somebody say, oh, can you, I cannot believe that you donated to that person, so and so has this on the Instagram, or they listen to this type of music, or they follow this type of celebrity. Like when there is a need, like you're not gonna be like, oh my goodness, let me see their Instagram before I donate to their GoFundMe, right? And completely ignore that they don't have food on their table, right? It's just bizarre sometimes that people don't assess the situation that we're in right now. This is affecting a lot of people, and this big article that's breaking this evening is about, like I said, it's a big news corporation that it was just acquired in September by another huge corporation, and now they're laying off people, right? And it's like people see, oh, the SNAP benefits is only affecting people that take advantage of the government, let's just say, but it's going to create this huge chain reaction, and we need to see things for what they are. I've been saying that, look at things that for what they are, and don't be like, oh, it's gonna get better. Something's gonna happen tomorrow. They're gonna open everything back up. Everything, yes, things can turn around, but what if they don't, right? I'm not saying for you to lose hope. I'm saying for you to kind of like, pay attention, because sometimes we're like, no, you hear people, even people that believe in the Lord, they're like, we're glad they need to stop taking advantage of the government. The people use SNAP benefits for different things. Yeah, but there's a lot of other people that really need that. And that's what we're talking about. We're not trying to say, oh yeah, keep giving benefits to the people that never work and they're just lying on their application. That's not the point, right? But if they need food, yeah, we want them to have their food, right? That's the thing. When there is an immediate need, you're not going to wonder who's really approved for it or who is not. That's the same thing when we see the videos of the people picking up their kids from school and they're being taken away in front of their kids at the pickup line. They're going to the school to pick up their children to bring them back from school, and they get intercepted by this group of men who are doing this job to get the people who don't have the paperwork in order. And people will look at that, right? Because I see comments that people leave on the videos that are coming out, and they're like, well, they should have been here, they should have kept their paperwork in order. A lot of times things don't make sense to us until it happens to an immediate family member or somebody we know, right? And we're like, oh man, that's so cruel. Don't let them do that to you. But it's been going on, right? And we should be having sympathy and empathy and like praying for people and to really know, man, what is going on here? What is really going on? But the thing that is going on with this big news that's breaking this evening is that well, I guess everybody knows that Gayle King, she's the anchor for CBS Mornings, right? And right now they're saying that she's not gonna come back after her contract ends in 2026. So she's been on that position for 14 years, they say. I think she's such a big part of that show, right? Like I said, out of all the TV shows in the morning, I like watching Gayle King and the two that are there with her, because I feel like they have such a great chemistry. To be honest though, there are times that I'm like, oh my goodness, it can be a little, at times, it's just my opinion, it's as good, but it can also lead to a lot of kind of like, is this like a morning news, or they're selling things, they're joking around? Like today, like what I was saying earlier, is that today they were having the flu shot, right? And I was like, that's very I have never seen, like, maybe because I don't watch the other shows, I'm not a big TV person, but I have never seen them do something like that live. I always watch them, like I said, as pretty much, I think I watched them for a long time in the mornings, the CBS News, but I never seen them, or maybe I missed it, I never seen them get the flu shot on live TV like they did today. And she was so nervous about it, right? But I was like, because when it comes to something like this, right, you can get immediate side effects. And I was thinking like, wow, that's very risky, because like anything can happen, right? And they're doing that right on live television, but they did it. But right now they're saying that she's not gonna really come back. She's gonna wait until her contract ends in 2026, I believe it's May, and then she's not gonna come back. But this company, like I mentioned, has just announced that they laid off 1,000 employees as well. So let me read you guys briefly this article. It says here that Gayle King reportedly is stepping down from CBS Mornings next year. The news anchor may switch to a different role within the network, although that has not yet been confirmed. Also something, I did see the show this week. I don't know what day it was. Maybe it was last week. They were saying goodbye to Gayle's assistant. And I thought, oh wow, that's, because I thought, I was like, oh wow, that's a little strange. But they're saying that she was leaving the show. I was like, oh wow, but that's like her assistant. and they were like saying it there, and then this happened, right? So I think, you know, everything always comes to light, right? So she might be doing some different things within the network, but they're saying she's leaving in May. Let me read to you guys more. I don't know why this is popping up so many photos. So many photos that I don't want to see right now. It's slowing down the article. I do apologize about that. Let me get to you guys the other one that I was reading. But you know, the reason that I'm sharing this is because we see everything that's happening, like I said, and we always think it's like, oh, small industries, those are the ones that are being affected. It's just the people, you know, that depend on, you know, half their income, and they also depend on, you know, government assistance. That's everything that's happening is only affecting them. It's not, right? And you need to understand also, if people don't have that money to buy groceries, it's gonna also affect, you know, obviously it's gonna affect them, obviously, but it's gonna affect supermarkets too, because they're gonna stock up, right? They're gonna stock up a lot, and if people are not, you know, they don't have the funds to spend, they're not gonna go and buy. And we know with food, like, things get expired and spoil very quickly, right? So that's something that you also have to put into perspective. So this is not budget. Let me get to you guys the other. I do apologize about that, but I was so surprised, like I mentioned, to see so many of familiar faces being laid off by that company, right? And that's something that people don't understand sometimes, because they see somebody on TV and you're like, oh yeah, they're millionaires, right? And that's the worst thing that you can assume about people, because they also have a supervisor, they also have to maintain a, you know, they have to maintain a good performance, right? And then the industry can be rocking like overnight, right? And they can just be, one day they'll be on TV, and the next day they're, you know, they're laid off. So it's almost like we saw that guy from the Cosby Show that came, I think it was early or late 2019. Somebody recorded him, because there's always somebody with a camera. He was a cashier at a supermarket. Yeah, I think his name is Jeffrey from the Cosby Show, right? And somebody was recording him and saying, look at this guy from the Cosby Show being cashier. But that's how life is, right? That's how life is. And that's why you should never, I'm sure there's a word for it, but people always want to make it seem like you fell from, like, whatever. Like, they're like, you work here? Like, this is what you do? Like, this is your job? And that's why, you know, there's such an honor just to even be able to have a job. It's an honor to be able to, you know, to put food on the table. Is, you know, you do your job to glorify the Lord. You don't do it to kind of like think like you're better than the other, because, you know, when you're doing a job, like, one day you're doing it, like I said, anything can happen. So you should never like shame somebody because they're just earning a living, you know, the right way too. So let me see if I can get you the names. It's just interesting to me, because in this industry, the news industry, you will think, my goodness, there's always something to report. There's always something happening people want to know. They're laying off, like I said, very familiar faces that. So it says here that CBS News has fired 8 on-air personalities in the latest layoff under the new leadership. Like I said, early September, late September, they were acquired by another company. So it says here that now they're saying that the layoffs were already in the works before they switched over to the new company, but these are some of the names, and if you can Google them so you can see like who I'm referring to. Among those that were let go were CBS Saturday Morning co-anchors Dana Jacobson and Michelle Miller. So those two, like if you know like right away. Also say Lisa Lane. She did a lot of reporting. I love watching how she does like investigative reports. Let me see who else. They're showing a picture of other on-air correspondents were released, including Elise Preston, Nancy Shen, Janet Shamilin, and Nikki Batiste, all of whom were based in the U.S. And they also laid off senior foreign correspondent Deborah Pata. This lady, I'm trying to see if that's the one that I'm looking at her photo right now, because I see her all the time reporting for the Middle East. So it's very surprising that I believe she's the one. I'm very surprised to see that they laying her off, because she's like the correspondent overseas. But they say she was okay. So there's something with her. Excuse me. There was an issue. Apparently, I missed this one. CBS reported fire in wake of firestorm over Gaza interview with Mike Huckabee. Now looking to sue. Oh, that's what happened. So she actually was fired. Deborah Pata, that's her name. I'm gonna see if I can put her photo here so you guys can see briefly who I'm referring to. We will see her all the time doing reports from the Middle East, right? It says here that something happened with her in a couple months ago. Okay, so that's because there's a lawsuit pending, probably. Okay, wow. So she's also part of all of that laid off. It's just surprising, like the CBS weekend anchors too. People that you see very often doing reporting. That to me is very surprising. Like I can understand, like Gayle King, her contract is gonna end in May, but like everybody, like so many of them, and the reason that I'm saying this is that's a big news company, right? It's very surprising to see them kind of like crumble to that. They're just, they're laying off so many people, and not just like people who are like on scene, like they're just doing kind of like behind the scenes work, reporting work, but like on-air personalities that you can recognize, like this lady that I just showed you. So let me know guys what you think about this. Thank you guys so much for coming to the channel. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Have a good day. God bless. Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good day everybody. God bless.